I'm going to cover the 4 principles of the course, and that is water first, veggies most, the scale, and tracking. And so I think that where people get lost with the 2B mindset is they way overcomplicate it. Or they think that there's no structure. There's definitely structure. We'll talk about the plate it method and all of that good stuff. So let's start with water first. This is one I think that's downplayed. Like, people underestimate the power of hydrating your body. It's incredibly important. I was drinking probably 10 ounces of water when I started this course. I just hated water and I could not get it down for whatever reason. And then I started to use the water bottle from 2B Mindset, which I think was a game changer. The straw, the fact that it was 30 ounces and I didn't have to fill it that many times made a really big difference for me. It was easy for me to carry it everywhere, take it everywhere with me. But then I also found that starting my day with water made me crave water throughout the day. So if you don't have water till like 11 a.m., it's going to be really hard to convince yourself to keep drinking water. But when you start first thing in the morning, just sipping on that bottle, you'll crave water throughout the day. And especially in the winter, I think it's harder to drink water when it's cold. So my goal is usually to get my 60 ounces in by like 12 or 1 so I can just do tea the rest of the day. And like, I love tea. I used to not really like it until Alana would just talk about how much she loves tea. It doesn't replace your minimum water intake, but it definitely helps enhance. And so I have things like the raspberry zing tea, lemon ginger tea, apple cinnamon tea, all those really fun flavors that just feel like a treat every time you're drinking it. So how much water should you drink? Half your body weight in ounces is the minimum. People are always afraid of overhydrating. You're more likely to underhydrate than overhydrate. So the goal is your body weight in ounces, half of your body weight in ounces. But here's the thing, the actual piece that makes the difference is drinking 16 ounces of water 5 to 20 minutes before every meal. What that does is it keeps you calm and collected while you're eating. If you find yourself kind of jittery and anxious and hungry, water kind of just calms you down a little bit so that you can make wise decisions with your meals, so that you can pay attention to when you're hungry, to when you're satisfied, etc. So I love paying attention to that part the most. It's the 16 ounces of water goal, 5 to 20 minutes before breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. If you do that, you will start to see a difference. I mean, studies show that 44% of people see greater weight loss when they do that 16% of, water, 16 ounces of water before their meals. And so, again, we know that this isn't all about weight loss, but it's important to understand the statistics and the science behind why are we drinking water first? Why is that when you go on date nights or travel, why is water first such a key element to all of this? And that is the biggest part. Can you drink more than your daily goal? Yes, you can. Can you drink too much water? Yes, you can, but it's just very rare. So if you forget to drink water, take your bottle everywhere you go. If you dislike the taste of water like me, you'll grow to love it. Your taste buds change every 21 days, and you eat you crave what you eat, and you crave what you do. So if you drink more water, you start to crave more water. Just like if you eat junk, you're going to crave junk, right? And if you find that you go to the bathroom a lot because of it, that's good. That's good. It's going to keep circulation going in your body. It keeps you moving. That's not a bad thing. Your body will adjust to the frequency of going to the bathroom. And so that is water first. Now, veggies most. As you can tell, this video will be a little bit long, but that's just because we're going to blow right through those 4 principles. And again, you should already know all this. We're just doing a debrief. Now, veggies most. I love vegetables. I know some people are really picky eaters, and this is actually the one part that's really difficult. But I think what's so cool about this is that Alana has amazing recipes. She really talks a lot about accessories and how you can accessorize your vegetables to make them delicious and satisfying and more fun, even ways to get your family to get on board with it and eat them. So their purpose of vegetables is to keep you full and satisfied. That's where volume comes from when it comes to your meals. So a lot of diets out there, it's all about portioned eating. Guess what? 2B Mindset isn't so much deprivation. It's actually volume eating, but the volume comes from your veggies. That's where a lot of your plate is. You can still have the protein, the fiber-filling carbs, the accessories, but the volume should come from your vegetables. And so people have found that weight loss effects from vegetables intake, there's a greater increase in weight loss when your diet is also primarily from veggies. We know that. That's not really surprising to anyone, but I just want to make sure that we start to troubleshoot what might be the sticking point to you getting more vegetables in your diet. So if you don't like the taste of veggies, start with what you like. Start with what you like, and then experiment with different textures, flavors, and add accessories. I love guacamole. There's so many other fun accessories out there that you can dress up your veggies in. And I love that Alana says, like, if ranch gets you to eat more veggies, use ranch. She talks about diluting dressing and all of that good stuff, but use it. It's not, like, same with your kids. If they have to have ranch to get vegetables down, that's a win. That's a win. So if you feel like they're too expensive, you can get frozen, you can get canned. I love how the 2B mindset works with any budget. So no matter where you are outside the country, there are veggies everywhere. It's just a matter of getting creative and finding out how you can make it fit your budget. I love to also shove them in Shakeology. So you can do frozen cauliflower in Shakeology. It makes it super creamy. It tastes really good. Same with spinach. And so those are ways that you can sneak veggies in if you struggle to get them in otherwise. If you feel really gassy from them, you can try other veggies that don't have the same experience. There are some vegetables that do make you more gassy, like eggplant, I think, is one of them, maybe peppers. And so there are some that aren't as bad. You can do some research for that. Okay, I'm trying to go through like all the things that we tend to struggle with when it comes to veggies. If it's hard for your family to eat them, be the influence of change. But don't be afraid to be a leader here and influence change in your entire family system. All right, water first, veggies most. Let's talk about the scale. Let's talk about the scale. So this was the element of the course that freaked me out. It wasn't water. I mean, water freaked me out, but it wasn't like a deal breaker. But the scale for me was a terrifying element because I know that I've never used the scale before. I've always abused and misused the scale. And so the idea of using this as a measure of data to give me information, I was like, God, I need a mindset shift. Like, I knew that this was a new idea, but if I were to put it in Karen's old mindset, it would just lead to bondage. It wouldn't work. So I started to pray a lot about the scale and pray every day before I stepped on it, reminding myself that this is not defining my worth or my value. This is a measurement of my weight, not a measurement of who I am. I would pray after, and I just really made this a walk with the Lord, every single element of this course. Every time I drank water, I thought about like how God, He quenches our thirst all the time, the same way that this water is quenching the thirst of my body. I made everything about this a spiritual journey with Jesus, and the same thing with the scale. It's information, but the only person that just says who I am is Jesus, not the scale. And that was what started to give me a healthier mindset with the scale, is to step on it every single day, to understand that it's data, to see that if I wasn't losing weight, I was learning. And when I'm in maintenance mode, it's really just learning all the time and just a way for me to make sure that I'm understanding what's going on with my body. Now let's talk about your period. The scale always goes up. And when you start to see this happen month after month, like I used to be that person who would like only step on the scale during my period. Of course, that number would discourage me. But when you start to step on the scale every day, you start to understand your body again, your hormones, your metabolism. It's so empowering. You're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Like my period's on its way. I'm a little bit more bloated. I'm up a few pounds. Like that makes sense. My body's responding to the blood volume and the hormone changes. You might notice the scale goes up after you lift weights, like right after your workout, that's when you check it. Or if you do a high intense cardio workout, you might notice it goes down. Like you're just going to learn a lot about your body. And I think that is so incredibly important. Now, if you're breastfeeding, if anybody here is postpartum, when should you go on the scale? Ideally, you want to have breastfed or pumped before you step on the scale. So like get all that out and then you can step on the scale. If you work late nights and don't sleep regular hours, when should you get on the scale? I think just pick a time of the day that you can be consistent with. I think for me, I ideally like when I've had a stretch of no food. So like, again, when we're sleeping, when you first wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, you step on the scale. So if you work late nights and you eat more so during the night and you sleep during the day, I think it would be when you wake up, and that's when you would do it. So we can talk to me if that is your life and your schedule. We can talk more one-on-one about that. Does the scale always reflect what you've eaten the day before, or can it reflect what you've eaten several days before? So Sometimes you'll notice that you have a great nutrition day. You make great decisions and the scale, for whatever reason, still goes up. The scale is not just a direct reflection of what you're eating. It's a reflection of just, in general, everything. Your sleep, stress levels, hormone levels, blood volume when you're exercising. It takes into account a lot of things. And so that's why we can't become emotionally attached to the scale and the outcome. We just have to focus on being faithful with doing our part. And not, the more you try to control the outcome of your health, the more frustrated you will be, and the more the rebel perfectionist voice in you will come out like, well, forget it. If the scale's going to say it's going up, forget this plan, forget Karen, forget to be mindset, forget this whole thing, I'm going to do my thing. Or the perfectionist comes out like, you are 0.05 ounces up. You are a failure. See, I knew this wasn't going to work for you. And then there's that, like, perfectionist tends to come with condemnation, right? So we need to immediately, starting this now, and we're going to pray after this, but starting now, we need to say, Lord, help me to pursue faithfulness on this journey, not fruitfulness. Help me to just show up every day and be obedient and caring for this body your way, and trust you with the outcome of weight loss, the outcome of increase in energy, of strength. God cares about your health because your health is what helps equip you each day to serve him better, right? And so he cares about it, but he's just asking you to show up and just do your part. Let the outcome be his. You can't control that. The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the more frustrated you will and overwhelmed you will become. So that's just some pep talk about the scale. If you find yourself fearing the scale or obsessing about the scale, we'll talk more about that in the next few weeks. I just wanted to give you kind of the gist. Scale goes with tracking. Now let's talk about this last element, the tracker. Y'all, do not skip tracking. This is the heart of the course. It will do you no service if you have no idea why you're gaining or losing. If you have a great weight loss week, you have nothing to refer to tell you why. And why I love the To Be Mindset tracker so much is it asks you great questions besides just track your food. I want you to start writing down how much water you're drinking before each meal in the boxes. I want you to write down, how are you feeling? Were you full and satisfied after, or were you still kind of hungry? If you have a night where you emotionally eat or stress eat, write that down. Today, this was all from emotional reasons. This is what I was feeling. This is what I did. This is how I want to handle it next time. I think where people struggle is that if they have days where they just really have no discipline with nutrition and they struggle, I've had those days, y'all, whether it's stress eating, mindless eating, they don't write it down. There's like this shame and this fear. What tracking does is it has to reveal so God can heal. Write down everything that goes on. I'm not in weight loss mode anymore, and I still track everything because I want a healthier mindset with nutrition, and to do that, I have to see what it actually looks like on paper. So the scale and tracking go together. You're tracking your weight every day. You're tracking your meals. If the scale at any point becomes obsessive, we can change it to like 3 times a week. I will meet you where you are. You just need to be in touch with me privately alongside this group if that is you. So get your trackers. If you have an iPhone, you do have the ability to download the Beachbody Nutrition Plus app, which is great. Android users, there's an app called Food Diary if that is helpful. But to be totally honest, I have an iPhone and I never use the app. I have found way more accountability with tangibly writing down in the hard copy tracker what is going on, because I can look back more easily. I can see the bigger picture more easily. The tracker doesn't ask you as many questions. And so I think that if this is an element that you don't have discipline in, set alarms on your phone for every day at like 9 a.m., 3 p.m., and 9 p.m. Three times a day. And honestly, if you have time to text people or scroll social media for forever, you have time to track. So I don't want to hear that excuse. Tracking is a big element, so don't skip it. This is how you're going to get to learn about your body. And also, I think it's just a huge increase in accountability. So it should be really detailed. It shouldn't just be chips. How many? Was it a serving? Was it more than a serving? Or like Cheerios? That doesn't tell me much. So if you want my support and my mentorship, I'm going to be asking to see the sheets of your tracker, and I won't be able to help if you don't have specifics with what you're eating. Okay? So again, if you eat perfectly and don't lose weight, we'll talk about what happens on those days, and you're never too busy to track. So if you find that it's hard to take the tracker with you, sometimes what I do is I'll use the Notes app on my phone or have like a little pocket journal, and I'll track throughout the day and then write it down in my tracker in the evening, and it really does make a difference. So those are the 4 primary principles of the course. This was a longer video because I'm just doing it all at once with you. And again, make sure that you've watched Alana's videos behind the scenes. So I want to know from you, with Water First, Veggies Most, Scale, and Tracking, which of them do you feel is like going to be the greatest obstacle for you and the one that you need the most discipline in? And which one do you feel like you've got this part down and you know you can commit to that every day? I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear your questions. Again, this entire week, it's just getting through the basics before we dig a whole lot deeper. And as a reminder, our first community conference call is going to be this Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll get to do a lot of Q&A then together, but let's just get to the heart of this first, and then we'll go from there. I love you guys. Can't wait to see your engagement go up. Tag each other when you don't see someone show up. This is what this is going to be all about. Talk to you soon.